Talk hockey.
Welcome to another episode of Strictly Hockey Talk. I'm your host, Nick Bondi, joined by the usual gang of suspects, Tambier and Brian. Before we get started, quick shout out to our sponsor. One of our sponsors, Docksteader Sports, out in South Surrey, made those beautiful T-shirts that Tambier is wearing right now. So, yeah, looks beautiful, right? You can. Thank you for helping us out there. Hey, it's the FIFA World Cup. They got all the FIFA merchandise that you need there. NHL jerseys, 30% off right now in store. So shout out to them. And another quick sponsor before we get started with the hockey talk, Four Seasons Disposal. You can count on Four Seasons Disposal to work for you. We provide a wide range of bin rentals for waste disposal throughout the Lower Mainland, with our service area even extending all the way up to Squamish. We carry bins from 10 to 40 cubic yards for rental, which gives us the flexibility to handle projects of a wide variety of sizes. We'll drop the bin off at your site and pick it up once it's full. We offer some of the most competitive rates in the industry, ensuring you get service you can count on at a price you can afford. Request a free quote today by simply filling out the form on our website, fourseasondisposal.ca. All right, boys, tons to get into. So we'll skip the usual how everyone's doing, because I'm sure everyone's doing great. World Cup, enjoying the hot weather and all that stuff. But yeah, we're gonna jump right into it today because we have a jam-packed show and lots to talk about. First of all, I mean, we got to get through all the trades that have gone on in the NHL over this past little week. It really feels like since the flat cap is no longer with us, the cap's going to be rising. Knock on wood, every year for the foreseeable future, right? The trade market's getting a lot more dynamic. A lot of teams have cap space. I guess we got to start with the biggest shocker for sure of the trades came out of nowhere Sunday afternoon. Brady Tkachuk to Florida. I mean, you want to talk about a blockbuster? That's a blockbuster, right? Ottawa obviously sends Brady Tkachuk, and Florida sends over the 9th overall pick this year, and then another first-round pick and a second-round pick as well. So lots to pack and unpack there. I mean, like I said, it's a shock. It's a blockbuster. It's a blockbuster of all. I would say the blockbuster of all blockbusters, but this was the most shocking one of the group, right?
I think you have to say that this was the biggest trade so far we've seen, and I don't expect to see a bigger trade than this one. Honestly, I don't. We all knew that Brady probably wanted out of Ottawa. I think that was discussed a ton in that city, and it almost got to a point where it felt like too much of a distraction. We've seen that happen here in Vancouver with an American superstar. And eventually, those kind of players find a way to get what they want. And on Father's Day, I think Keith Tkachuk got his wish that his boys are now playing together. He also is now a Hockey Hall of Famer. So what a weekend for the Tkachuk family. Just going through the trade, I think Florida is the obvious winner, right? He's a good player. He's a guy that is a pain in the ass to play against, and he's going to be able to do that alongside his brother. So you know what I mean? Like, good for the Tkachuk family, and for Canadian teams or teams that are drafting these American players, because it's not just Canadian teams, right? It is, for the most part, but these American superstars are trying to find a way out of their situation when the teams themselves don't do what is expected of them, and that's to put together a competitive team that can win. But in this case, guys, Ottawa was a competitive team. Ottawa has some very nice pieces. They have a decor, young players in their decor that are coming up, in Yakimchuk and Spence, that are exciting players. So it's like, why did Tkachuk want to move so fast to Florida? And it's pretty obvious. It's because his brother's there. The Florida Panthers are a proven winning team. Like, they've won back-to-back cups and Probably if it wasn't for the injuries and how shit went last year, they probably would have been, a pain in the ass to play against for anybody in the playoffs. And he sees that, and he sees an opportunity to win, also an opportunity to make $2 million more with a no tax cut. I think for the Chucks, this is great, but for the Ottawa Senators and their fans, my God, this sucks, right? And it feels the same with the Canucks when Quinn Hughes left, but the difference is Ottawa is actually a competitive team that is trying to win now. And I think this trade makes them worse, even if they, ended up flipping a 9th overall pick for someone that we'll talk about later. But it sucks for those guys.
Was it surprising? Not really, because the rumors were always out there about that, circus, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, 2 years away from free agency.
I read a report that Keith Tkachuk, I saw a tweet from someone, Tkachuk was pretty much telling anyone who would listen over at the Olympics that he was trying to get Brady out of Ottawa. Like, he's like, I'm trying to get Brady out of Ottawa. It's very similar to, 2014 with Kessler, when he was, saying, telling anyone who would listen that, hey, I want out of here, right? And eventually came true, right?
And it's a funny thing is, what's it called? I think Pierre LeBrun or Bruce Garriock, I think there are a lot of tweets out there as well saying that, Brady Tkachuk wasn't the same individual after the Olympics and Four Nations, right? Whatever the group chat, the Team USA winning. I also think, how, when USA did win the Olympic gold first, I think they're, since the Miracle on Ice, which is 50, 60 years ago, and how the Team USA got trouted around in the United States as gold, national heroes, and the fan love and support. I think, that the patriotism of these American players, some of these very, Brady Tkachuk, Matthew, they're very patriotic, right? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of Canadians as well. But I think it wasn't a surprise when they because we knew it was going to eventually happen. Either he was going to get traded at the deadline or next off season, or he was going to walk away for free. But happening when it happened, it was kind of shell shock. And I've always been on the train that I always thought Brady Tkachuk would have stayed, because the team was very competitive, right? You have Americans players, Shane Pinto and Jake Sanderson, sign up for long-term extensions. You have Tim Stützle there, you have Thomas Chabot, you have a a number one goaltender when he's on, and Linus Ullmark, right? The team has been, pretty good in the regular season the last 2 years, but it hasn't really done anything in the playoffs. Another thing, there's one thing about Canadian fans: we always support our players. It doesn't matter if it's American captain or a Canadian captain, whatever. The fan love is always there. We've seen clips over on Twitter and YouTube, and last year, even this year, when they were saying Brady, right? He's probably never going to find the love ever again. But I think this is more to do with, Keith Tkachuk, his dad, Matthew, his brother, that stupid podcast they're always on, right? And it's just something, there's so much noise and drama around the situation. And I think, the Trump situation, whatever the political situation, in the media asking about questions, and he's saying he's committed to the Ottawa Senators, he doesn't want to leave. At the end of the day, the better player, of course, is Brady Tkachuk, ends up in Florida. But I think, Steve Stales, he jumped the curve a little bit, and, he got ahead of it. He didn't let this thing, wait until the deadline or, off season, where pretty much he might have never got 3 first-round picks, right? So, it's pretty. If I was an Ottawa Senators fan, I would be pretty pissed, because he's your captain, he's one of your best players. But realistically, he might be the 3rd or 4th most important player on that team, even last year, because Timmy G is better. He's more important. Jake Sanderson's definitely up there. So then Brady Tkachuk falls in line. But hey, man, shout out to Keith Tkachuk, for getting Brady out of Ottawa and into the Florida organization. But this is great for the Team USA marketing and hockey in the States.
Oh, Brian, you mentioned Jake Sanderson. He was also on that American gold medal team. So is he going to be long for Ottawa now?
I think his dad's Canadian. I don't know, man. It's a good question, but I think it's a good question. But I do think Jake Sanderson's probably in there for the long run. But overall, I think this is great for the Florida Panthers, great for Hockey USA. You got the podcast is going to probably get a couple of extra clicks now. They're already on the Pat McAfee show the next day, less than 24 hours, right? So I think it is what it is. Sucks for the Ottawa Senators fans, but great for Brady. Yeah, man, we'll see the Bash Brothers. Bash Brothers in Florida.
I think we mentioned this the episode after the Olympics. There was that media scrum that he did right when he got back to Ottawa, and all the questions were about, people like, hey, Cash Patel in the locker room and the whole political aspect. You could tell there that he was getting tired of these questions, and credit to him, like, he stood there, he's the captain, and answered the questions, right? But you could tell, like, that sort of shit was getting to him, and we mentioned it at the time. It's like, they're going to run this guy out of town, and I don't know if they did, but you could tell right from that moment, like, it was like, oh, okay, maybe he doesn't want doesn't want to be an American captain in a Canadian city. And another thing we have to talk about as well, like, we're going to talk about the draft in a bit, but if I'm the Canucks, like, or any of these Canadian teams, am I wanting to draft an American with a top 10 pick, with a lottery pick? And it's not to say that, and I'm specifying that because, like, obviously, the guy, like, it's not like not every American is going to say, no, I don't want to play in Canada, because a lot of these American players obviously don't have the pull that a Brady Tkachuk or a Quinn Hughes has, right? A guy like Drew O'Connor is just happy to be in the league. Like, okay, if this team from Canada is going to pay me $3 million over 3 years, or $9 million total, like, okay, I'm signing that contract, right? A guy like Connor Garland, like, hey, like, he has pull, but not to the much as a Brady Tkachuk, right? So I'm not saying, like, every American doesn't want to play, but I'm saying the guys who have the pull, like, I don't know, like, if we're going to talk about draft this minute, but if I'm the Canucks, like, I'm staying away from Chase Reed. I would not pick him with that third overall pick. And Ryan Johnson pretty much said as much. Like, he said the right thing, that where a player is from is not going to affect where it is. But he did admit they are having those conversations, right?
I also want to say, I don't think the media ran Brady Tkachuk out of town.
No, I'm not saying that. No, not at all. But you can tell, like, from that, if you go watch that scrum, like, he was getting pretty frustrated.
It was because everyone knows he's always wanted not to play in Ottawa, right? If you just said right now that during the Olympics, Keith Tkachuk was telling everyone how he's going to get Brady out of Ottawa. You don't think Tim Stützle heard that? He's at the Olympics too. You don't think Jake Sanderson heard that? He was his teammate at the Olympics. And that's the one thing I love about Tim Stützle. He said it. If you don't want to be here, then see ya. We don't want you. Because Ottawa Senators are all about, the culture of the Ottawa Senators is all about, we want people here that want to win with us, right? And that's the kind of response you want to hear from your star player. And good on Tim Stützle for, being like, you know what, like, Brady, good buddy when he was here, but if he doesn't want to be here, then we don't want him here. We're gonna find a way to win without him. And I love that. I love that response. So, if you don't want to hear about the noise from the media, then don't create it. Because at the end of the day, that's what Brady and his team were doing, essentially.
Here's the thing also, the noise, like, Canadian media, or, like, sometimes ask tough questions, but reality is, I'm pretty sure there's a lot of American media out there, like Philadelphia, the Rangers media, like, a lot of media out there that do ask the tough questions as well. It's not just the media thing, but also, like, I don't want to get politics into it, but from a Canadian fan base point of view, if you look at Twitter, your president is saying 51st state and all this stupid shit.
Yeah.
Like, what do you think the Canadians are going to react to that, right?
Man, it's going to take it.
Another thing is, like, I don't know if it was an AI video after that, the celebrations, or in the locker room, the call to Donald Trump is like, somebody mentioned close the northern border. The people thought it was Brady Tkachuk, right? Yes, it could be a joke, but whatever. But, like, I've always said, if you're a captain of a Canadian team or a captain of any team, when shit gets tough, you got to answer the questions, like it or not, man. That's what you have to see on your chest. But also having 0 points in 4 playoff games, even though they got swept and he was a non-factor this year, doesn't really help It doesn't really help him, right? But overall, like, we're going to keep this short on the Brady Tkachuk thing. Great for Brady Tkachuk, Matthew Tkachuk, Keith Tkachuk, and the Florida Panthers. But if I'm the Ottawa Senators, it's not the end of the world.
No, because like we said, we're big Tim Stützle fans, right? Like he's the number one center. Like now you have a focus, you build around him, right? And you build the pieces. Like people forget, like the Sens, if they just had like league average goaltending, they would have had a lot better record than than what they finished with last year, right?
The numbers prove. Like I think Nick, you dropped a fact couple months ago. I think it was 12, 13 more points. You add that to what the Ottawa Senators had, they pretty much win the Atlantic Division.
Yeah.
Right?
So like the Sens are there. They just need to build around what they have now. And and maybe, you mentioned distractions. Maybe it sounded like, from reporting from guys like Elliot Friedman, it was starting to become a distraction, right? Like it was the Tkachuk, will he, won't he, is he going to stay? Is he going to want to leave? Like became a distraction, right?
There were a lot of people, players in the locker room that got pissed off at this distraction. And a couple of them were American players as well.
I want to say what they did with the 9th overall pick. Now that's what we need to discuss because you could start with that, Nick.
Yeah. So I think it was pretty clear that the Sens were not going to, make that 9th overall pick, right? They needed like impact player now, and they traded to the Sharks for William Eklund, 7th overall pick himself in the 2021 draft. 53 points in 78 games. He had 58 and 77 the year previous to that. I think he's an okay player. I don't know if he's top 10 pick worthy, but it could be a situation where he gets more opportunity, plays on a better team in San Jose, and pops off, right? But it was pretty clear the Sens kind of reluctantly had to trade Brady to Florida, but they weren't going to use that pick. They needed like an impact, like they wanted it like a top 6 forward to replace Brady Tkachuk essentially.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of it is based off of no movement clauses as well, right? I think there's another guy that got traded to Washington, Jordan Kyrou, who I thought would have been a name that the Ottawa Senators probably would have gone after as well. But I'm sure that the no movement clause had.
Did he have one?
Play. I think so. Yeah, he did. So, I don't know if Eklund was Plan B or Plan A or whatever, but he's a young player, which is a good thing. I think he's like 24 years old or something. So it's not like he's old or anything, and he's probably got more to grow still. I think he's not in his prime years yet. And the numbers don't look bad, like 50-ish points a season with San Jose, a bad team, but from what I've heard and what I've seen from Eklund, it's not like he wasn't getting opportunity. He was getting a lot of opportunity in San Jose, first unit power play time as well. So it's not like he was, not getting a chance to play with Macklin celebrating on power play 1 or anything, right? So I don't know how to feel about this one because I get it. You have to replace Brady Tkachuk, but at the same time, giving up a 9th overall pick for a guy of Eklund's caliber, which I don't believe is good enough, is worrying a little bit for the Sens. I get it. You want to stay competitive and you want to be a good team next year as well. I feel like they should have kept the 9th overall pick and waited for an opportunity for another player to pop up, right? I know they were trying to go after Jason Robertson as well, and Jason Robertson, you're hearing reports about him possibly not wanting to go. He's picking and choosing where he wants to play, right? Because he's got a big contract.
That was a report that came just now from Elliot Friedman. Is Robertson turned down 8 times 15 from
Seattle.
From Seattle, yeah,
and
Seattle turned down $120 million. Like,
well, Seattle's also one of those.
Tough.
Seattle's one of those cities that have low tax, right? So it's like
they did pass a millionaire's tax law, so it's not going to be tax free anymore.
Oh yeah. So that's a good point. That's a really good point, Nick. I totally forgot about
that. Let's get this out of the way. We know William Eklund and Brady Tkachuk, 2 different type of players. We know a lot of Brady Tkachuk has a major pull, name brand and things like that. Of course, he's the better player right now, but Trigger mentioned something there, like but William Eklund. He's really not at his peak. He's 23 years old, right? It says on his Puckpedia page that he's been in the league for 5 years, but the first 2 years really don't count because he only played 9 But I'm looking at the numbers wise. Not the he's not a goal scorer. The numbers are not a goal scoring machine, but he's definitely very creative. Of course, you could probably probably wonder, like, Brian's trying to put a positive spin on it, because eventually you have to a little bit, like it or not.
No, you don't. You don't have to put a positive. You should just say how you feel about it. No need for a positive spin.
And I've said it on the spaces. I like William Eklund as the player. It's not that big game fit like hunting that you probably expect after losing Brady Tkachuk. It's not Jason Robertson. It's not guys like Adrian Kempe. Go down whatever the line, right?
But Brian, if he's turning out 120 million in Seattle, is he agreeing to go to Ottawa? I don't think so, right?
Well, so you have to And here's another thing I was going to ask you guys. Majority of these wingers we've seen it. We went through the Puckpedia stuff on Spaces in our group chats, left, right, and center. Everybody's got a no move clause, right? So, and but here's the thing. Wait, Tab here. Who would you rather have gone if everybody's got a no move clause? Who would you rather have, William Eklund or Mason McTavish?
I'm looking at the numbers here, guys. 15 goals.
Okay, it seems like an overpay.
Should I read you Brady?
I don't care.
Should I read you Brady Tkachuk's? Should I read you Brady Tkachuk's points in the from age 20 to 23?
I don't care about the points. Okay, the points are.
But people look at the points. People look at the points, don't they?
No, I look at goals. You know why? You're a winger. And
he's a playmaking winger. He's a playmaking winger.
The Ottawa Senators need goal scoring.
Yeah,
15 goals. That's how many goals Pettersson had. This is.
But he's not a goal scorer. He's always been a creative playmaking winger, like it or not, right? And the numbers don't lie.
Passing the puck to Macklin Celebrini on the power play is not easy, not that hard actually. So,
okay, but first of all, those numbers are very.
That's what Ryan Nugent-Hopkins does, and apparently he's an awesome player. So,
but I think it's not the greatest move. It's a good. I like William Eklund, creative playmaker. Put him on the line with Timmy G and Drake Bowers. Let's see what he does. Change your scenery and stuff like that. But he's a playmaker.
I need you to change the way you look at things for other Canadian markets. You have to have the mindset of, if the Canucks made this move, would you like it?
Well, the Canucks are in rebuild. I will be serious to take the 7th overall pick.
Just put everything in the Canucks. You were mad at the Canucks. Wait. You were literally pissed off at the Canucks for trading a first-round pick for Elias Lindholm when they were literally a better contender. They were a better contender than the Ottawa Senators have ever been.
But you got to answer this question too. Who's available? But who's available for the Ottawa Senators to go get if everybody's got no move? That's a good point.
Again, like Jason Robertson.
You tell me. You can't come. If there's not a player you can name the Ottawa Senators could get that doesn't have a NMC, then what should they do?
I would have waited it out for a player to be available.
Who? But who? Nobody's coming available. Nobody's going to Ottawa.
I'll give you a player.
Yeah.
This might sound like a hot take. I think Jake DeBrusk, you would have paid less.
God.
You would have paid less to get him. Yeah. Less to get him, right? And you'll score way more goals.
Who said they can't afford Jake DeBrusk still?
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying is,
would you
another guy. Brock Besser.
Oh no!
You would have paid less to get him, and he'll score you more goals. Again, Eklund is he scored 15 goals, Brian, and how many of his points came off passing the puck to Macklin Celebrini on the power play?
I think they wanted someone in that age group of Jake Sanderson and Tim Stützle, right?
He's not anything special, man.
I agree. I think it's an overpay.
I'm not saying he's a first ballot Hall of Famer or a first line star. He's a good piece. He's a good top 6 potential piece.
Do you know who else I would have paid without the contract? Please, without the contract. Alex Tuck.
Oh my god!
Again, I wouldn't give him $10.6 million that the Washington Capitals just gave him. But I think Alex Tuck's a better player than William Eklund.
He's also 7 years older.
Yeah, that's the thing.
10.5 compared to $5 million.
That's the only positive spin you could put on it, Brian. Is he's only
here's the
24
thing,
years old.
Alex Tuck, 0 points in those playoff games against Montreal.
Okay, wait. By the way, that's the positive spin on this is he's young, right? But the reality is that he's 5'10", had 15 goals last year, and I bet you 15 to 20 of his assists came from passing the puck to Macklin Sudbury on the power play.
Let's find that out right now.
It'll be double digits for sure. Double-digit assists on the power play to Maxwell Celebrini.
But a 23-year-old playmaking creative winger who's not a goal scorer, he's definitely a playmaker. He has speed. By the way,
Again,
his speed is measured exactly to Tim Stützle. Right now, he's not Jason Robertson. He's not what's it called, Alexander Ovechkin. But for what the Ottawa Senators had available for them, all the big boys have no move clauses. Nobody's waving to Ottawa. You get a 23-year-old who doesn't have no protection. San Jose was not. First of all, I don't believe it. Like, was he on the market? Was he not? Right. But if you're you got to look at like who's available for them. Would you rather have Mason McTavish or William Eklund?
I'd rather have Mason McTavish. Probably. I don't know. That's a tough one. Again, it's just I'm just not as high on him as you are. But at the same time, you're the same guy that got pissed off at the Canucks for trading a 20th plus overall pick for Elias Lindholm. When the Canucks were let me finish. When the Canucks were a competitive team, and it was like a 20th something pick for him.
I don't remember this. This was a couple of years ago.
No, he did. And
I was right.
So you're okay with them giving up the 9th overall pick for this guy?
The thing is, the funny thing is, the guy who loves prospects and 9th overall is pretty big. Of course, I love Matvei Grudin when he came out. And here's another thing. Speaking of prospect, quick little thing. The prospect that Ottawa Senators got in that trade as well, Kasper Halttunen. Sens fans, he's a good prospect. That guy is like Morgan Geekie 2.0. I'm not saying he's going to turn into, but he's a pure goal scorer machine. But anyways, yeah, I said, I hated that fucking trade. But why? It's a first round pick, man. And knowing the Canucks, one hit wonder. Yes, they had the chance. They had the chance. I'll take that. I got my bad takes as well. But from this point of view, there's nobody available for the Ottawa Senators to get. And would you rather pay 10.5 for a 30-year-old or trade the 9th? By the way, we don't know what the 9th overall pick is going to be. Ottawa's in a win now, right now. The 9th overall pick ain't going to be ready for 5 years down the line.
Yeah, for sure. But if they gave up like the 25th overall pick, that would make way more sense.
Yes. Now, that's why it's not the greatest A-plus move out there. And I agree with you. If it was 25 and plus whatever, yes, now we got to call it's a really good trade. But it's being a top 10, pick, that kind of is where the grade comes down. But at the end of the day, you got to do what's win now moves.
Hey, I know you love this Samaskevich guy from Florida. Like, why didn't Ottawa try getting him in a trade?
Good question. I wonder if they had a conversation. I thought that was an overpay too. Do you think that was a massive overpay or the William Eklund one?
I'd say William Eklund's more of overpay, but Samaskevich, why wouldn't you try getting him in a return for Brady Tkachuk? He doesn't have a no trade clause. He's a winger.
Exactly. That's another good question. Like, how did Florida? Were they?
They flipped that 25th overall pick, anyways.
26. So. 20 was it 26? Yeah, that's a good question. Like, why didn't into a deal with Mackie Samaskevich plus 26 plus and plus? But I guess maybe the Ottawa Senators wanted 2 picks in this year's draft, and who knows, right? But that's I know we're not going to touch on that, but I do agree with Nick and you and Nick and Trigger. The Samaskevich for a first, I don't know what the fuck the Seattle Kraken are doing. We'll talk about them later on. But you have to look now. We got to look at the glass half full or empty type of the move for the Ottawa Senators. What do you guys think? I think with the option they had available, every star player's got no move clauses.
It was an overpay. It was an overpay. But at the end of the day, like you're right in the sense that you're not going to get a guy with a no move to agree to go to Ottawa. So you need to find a way to work around that, right?
And I do believe that we gotta let the player play it out too, right? He's only 24 years old.
23.
23. He's gonna probably turn 24 or something soon, and I think that we'll let the play doing the talking, right? Let's let play do the talking, and maybe I might be wrong. I don't know. Not like I watched every Willie Mecklin game this year, but ninth overall seems like a steep price.
He also, so the last 3 years, when it comes to the power play, 16 power play points, 16 power play points, 16 power play points, 8 goals, 6 goals, 3. So last year, he had 3 power play goals and 16 power play points. So
13 points going to Macklin Celebrini right
there. Hey, Will Smith and Macklin Celebrini, man. But I think
I nailed it.
I think it's, for what was available, is definitely overpay. If it was 26th and whatever, I think it would be great. But because it's a 9th overall pick, it is what it is. But hey, they needed it. They needed to do something. Hey, here's the thing: they might still go get Brock Besser or Jake DeBrusco or whoever, right? And now then the top 6 looks a little bit differently, right? But if you think that was a bonehead play, the Buffalo Sabres gave a 4th overall. They got a 4th overall pick for Bo Byram.
Yeah, let's get into that.
And speaking of overpays, like, holy fuck, when I saw that come through, I was like, what the hell is Kyle Davidson smoking? Like, that is insane work. Like, and the full trade, for those who haven't heard about it yet, or you just hearing about it now, I guess, 4th overall, round 2 pick in the same draft, 2026, for Jordan. Jordan Greenway was in the trade as well. But the big part of it is, 4th overall, and for Bowen Byram, which, I mean, like, it's for Kyle Davidson, right? Like, where is only 2 good trades with the Canucks, like trading getting Mikheyev and getting Jason Dickinson for like draft picks. Like, that must be the only 2 trades this guy's make, and it goes to show that I think he's under a lot of pressure from Bedard's camp. Right, to be like, hey, we got to turn this thing around, right? Obviously, Connor Bedard's an RFA. Right now, he's going to re-sign with the Blackhawks. I'm not saying anything else, but this great trade screams to me, his camp being like, hey, like, we got to get this thing going. Otherwise, hey, he could pull Brady Tkachuk, right? He could demand his way out of there. And
the craziest thing about it all, Nick, is, sorry to interrupt.
And Bowen Byram, like, he has not established himself as a top defenseman yet. He is not like a top pair. He has not established himself as a number 1 defenseman. And we all know his concussion history. I know he's played full games the last 2 years, but he's 1 hit away from not sitting out an extended period of time. Right? We all know how concussions work. So it seems it was an insane overpay. I don't get it from Chicago's perspective. Right? And the only way I can think of it is they have pressure from Bedard to speed this thing up.
Oh, 100%. And the crazy thing about it all, sorry, I interrupted you before and I wanted to say this, is they traded the 4th overall pick and they never even locked in an extension with Bowen Byram.
Exactly. He's got all the leverage now. What are you going to do, not sign him?
Yeah, like, you just gave up the 4th overall pick to a guy that's a UFA next year. What are you doing? Like, what are you doing? I get it. There's pressure from Bedard's camp. But it's not like Bedard's not going to extend with you guys. He's going to sign a contract with the Chicago Blackhawks. And, I love Bowen Byram, by the way. I think he's a better player than Willie Mecklin. But I think the price cost for Byram is way too much. Like, the market is so crazy right now, guys, that it's sort of making my head spin because I don't know what what a Hronek is worth anymore, right? Like if the market is what it is and teams are just throwing top 10 picks out the window for really good players like Bowen Byram, who I think is a really good player, like, that is insane. I didn't think Bowen Byram was worth a 4th overall pick, although I like him as a player. And no extension either. Like, and again, comparing this to Hronek, right? Hronek's locked up for $7.5 million a season for another 6 years. Like, how do you not, as a Canucks management team, how do you not look at what Byron just got without an extension? I think Hronek's a better player. He's right-handed, right? How do you not like not even think about moving him? Like, it's like I tweeted it out today. It's a layup, but with the market, it's more of like an empty net. But the Canucks are on the path of, pulling a fucking Patrick Stefan. And the funny thing is, Ray Ferraro won't even rip the Canucks for it because his wife's the AGM. What are we doing here? Like, this is the easiest decision you could ever make.
The funny thing is about the Ray Ferraro.
I do agree, but I do also see the point that there's no, like, a guy like Hronek, right? Top 4 right shot defenseman. Those guys, the value doesn't go down. So if you can find there's room to, trade him. You don't have to trade him like this week. And I'm cool personally if the Canucks don't make any trades up until July 1st, right? Like, this is going to be a long process, right? You got to spread these picks out. You can't have. Why do you think all these teams are trading their first? Why do you think they're trading all these top 10 picks? This draft is not that good. And
really?
From everything I've read, this draft is not. The next year's draft's loaded. That is just what I've heard from people who are from articles I've read, from people who cover the draft really well and really extensively. So you have to spread the picks out. What are the Canucks picks for the next 2027, 2028, right? You got to spread. Hey, if they trade him now and it's for picks, it's for picks in 2027, 2028, I'm all for it. Do it today. But if those trades aren't out there, then I'm cool with holding him.
Okay, here's the point. I've heard last year that this draft was loaded. Right now, all of a sudden, the topic of conversation is changing on this draft because it's not loaded.
Again, why do you think all these teams are so willing to trade these? Like, the top four pick like that, never gets traded, man. Because
teams are desperate to be contenders. They're desperate for playoff revenue. They're desperate to a team like Chicago is literally. They literally just want to make the playoffs. They've been out of the playoffs for 7 years. Their fans are getting impatient. Right, they have Connor Bedard. Right, they're trying to make the playoffs. A team like what's it called? San Jose. They know they have Macklin Celebrini. Again, Ottawa too. They want to make the playoffs. The thing is, the market right now is saying that a defenseman of Hronek's caliber isn't just worth the 4th overall pick. He might be worth the 2nd overall pick, right? Or the freaking 9th overall pick plus, right? The market might not ever get back to this point, Nick. I bet you teams aren't going to be trading top 10 picks in next year's draft. The market might go back to, a prospect, a really good prospect, a 20th overall pick, like what we got for Quinn Hughes.
Well, that's why I'm saying I'm cool with them trading him. Don't get me wrong. I think they should trade him at some point. But if you're going to trade for a 2027, 2028 pick, do it, you got to do it before the season starts.
My point is, when the market's hot, you have to pounce. You have to pounce when the market's hot. You can't sit on your hands and not want to, and be patient. You got to pounce when the market's hot. And right now, if the Buffalo Sabres offered you the 4th overall pick and a really good prospect for Hronek, you're telling me you wouldn't do that? I don't know.
They don't need Hronek. They don't need. That's one team that doesn't need Hronek.
They don't need a right shot defenseman? Why?
The D core is pretty stacked already.
I know, but on the left side.
No.
Maybe the right side. Byron was playing the right side, and he was a left shot defenseman.
They have Mattias Samuelsson. They got Reddy.
He's not better than Hronek.
Well, the numbers suggest he's one of the best defensive. What's it called?
He's not better than Hronek. Stop with that.
Again, you're looking at the damn fucking numbers.
Again, every time it's a Vancouver.
I just said he's one of the best defensemen in the game.
Who would you rather have, Brian?
Neither of them.
No, stop. Seriously. Just stop with this bullshit. He's not better than Hronek. Name me the other right shot defensemen, Brian. Come on.
Yeah, let's do it right now. But it's again, ninth of the teams that need defensemen make sense. Buffalo Sabre, he doesn't need. They don't need him. They don't.
They need a right shot defenseman.
Probably the
you
Bowen
just named
Byram one.
Matthias Samuelsson. He's like a fourth defenseman on most
They
teams.
got Dahlin, Power, Samuelson. Just the three, just right off the bat, right?
Again, right shot. Those guys can't play the right side, Brian.
Samuelson plays the right side, by the way. Samuelson plays the right side, and he plays it really well.
Okay, I know one guy, and he's not better than Hronek either. So,
I don't know about that. I don't know about that. Hronek just became really good in Vancouver.
Just stop. Holy. Nick, could you please settle the debate here?
Who would I rather have?
Yeah.
I'd rather have Hronek.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, what's it called? Of course, Hronek. It doesn't matter who you guys want. The point being, again, it's like, should the Canucks entertain offers? Yes. But they can also get picks for next year in 2028. But I do agree with this. Tambier mentioned a point where the strike when the iron's hot, right? How much does this also do with the weak free agent class, right? Now, before you guys continue, the Bo Byram situation, I think one of you guys mentioned that he's one hit away. The last 2 seasons, he has played 82 games both seasons, right? He did have a career year this year, not really playing the number one power play unit. In Chicago, he's pretty much, I think he's playing on the number one power play unit, right? So I think it's a huge overpay. 4th overall is definitely not, it's no. But the issue I have with that is that Chicago Blackhawks have 3 first-rounders next year. You're telling me you could not swing a deal with the Buffalo Sabres with 1 or even 2 or whatever you want from next year's draft instead of the 4th overall pick? Well, here's the thing. The 4th overall pick, yes, it's not going to help you right now, but that player could be Caleb Malhotra, pretty good centerman, Carson Karels, Keaton Verov, Chase Reed, Stenbrook follows you, ironically, magically, right? But the only thing is, there are ways to get these deals done. Teams are not looking, like how we talk about being creative. The Blackhawks could be creative and trade picks next year or prospects, but they just said, you know what? Fuck it. Let's afford. Here's another thing. Apparently, the other team that was bidding for Bo Byram with the San Jose Sharks, and their offer was 9 plus 25, right? So you're telling me, and maybe the Hawks saw this and be like, you know what? We need a defenseman. They're offering the 9th. Fuck it. Here's the 4th, right? And I also do. Chicago is one of those teams that because we've gone over spaces and on the pods that they have a lot of prospects, right? But the thing is, they don't have any D prospects. Rinzel is good. I know Tambier is a big fan of Sam Rinzel. Lefschnikov is work in progress, but there's still future there. Alex Vlasic, good shutdown defenseman, left-handed. So they have a lot of forward depth. So that's my only issue is could you not take one of your forward prospects, a first rounder next year to get this deal done? But the market is fucking scorching hot right now. And coming back to the Philip Hronek one, you can have Samuelson, Hronek, Power, Karls, whoever the fuck you want. The point being, I can have somebody, Nick can have somebody, Tamper can have somebody. The point being, are the Canucks even listening to offers? Are they even putting him out there? Right? It doesn't matter if it's a 20. If it doesn't matter if it's a 26 first, 27 first, whatever. But if you're seeing the market for top 4 defensemen, right shot, left shot, to be honest, it doesn't matter right or left. Just look at the market in general for defensemen, and you're just looking at Bo Byram, who, yes, he's 25. Hronek is close to 30, more mature and right shot, et cetera, et cetera. You're telling me the Canucks can't get a top 10 pick plus 26 or something plus prospects, and that's the annoying part. We can get anybody. We can debate Samuelson, Hronek, Jovanovski, Olin. Who gives a fuck? But the point being, fucking put him out there. See what's out there, what's available. But now you're trying to name him captain.
Yeah,
that'd be a mistake.
It's comical, guys. It's comical, and doesn't matter if it's RJ or JR. It seems like the same line of thinking from whatever GM is here, making these moves.
By the way, honestly, the right shot for the Buffalo Sabres, we're also forgetting the Chicago Blackhawks gave one of their best right shot defensemen in this trade as well. Louis Crevier, 25-year-old, right shot defenseman. So it just seems like it keeps getting worse for the Chicago Blackhawks. But like we've said it many times, we'll see how these players do.
Louis Crevier, his analytics look good. we'll see what he is. Saying that
6'8". This guy's like the next Tyler Myers.
So he's got Dahlin, Owen. So pretty much, I think we can guarantee that the Buffalo Sabres are going Dahlin power 1-2 for the next 10 years, right? So you got two there. You got Mattias Samuelsson there. You got Connor Timmins, 27-year-old right shot defenseman. Pretty decent, not the greatest. He's not, of course, Hronek's better. Louis Crevier,
Again, none of those guys are better than Hronek. None of them.
But look at the other three.
Again, right? No, other two. You could make the argument Hronek's better than Power, to be honest. Even though Power is younger, you could make the argument Hronek's been better than Power.
So but you would.
But I'm saying because of age. But if you think about just play, Hronek's been better, right? But again, the Canucks are just, they're different. They're a different breed.
The frustrating part
of organization.
The frustrating thing is, yes, we're having a healthy conversation, debating back and forth. The frustrating thing, it's the Vancouver Canucks. That's the thing. We can give a rat's ass about what other teams are doing, but at the end of the day, what the Canucks are not doing, it's what we're having this great debate back and forth, right? At least put these fucking players out there on the market and see.
They'll do it, but they'll do it later. And
we've known Vancouver Canucks, trading players when their value fucking crashes down like a meteor, right?
Exactly. So, career-ending injury could happen. It's the Vancouver Canucks. His play can drop. It's the Vancouver Canucks, right? Like nobody saw Pettersson's play drop. Nobody saw Pettersson's play drop. You remember in the World Championships, the past World Championships, when apparently Philip Hronek had like a fucking head injury or neck injury? Yeah, exactly.
Right? So, you knew this is some typical Vancouver Canuck. This guy's but
it's not even honestly at this point it's not even worth wasting our breath on, because the Canucks don't care what we think. They just they beat on their own drum at the end of the day. So if you guys want to talk about the draft, it's draft eve.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. Let's do it. Look, we came up with a fun little exercise. Is that the hockey news?
The hockey news, man.
I didn't know they still did physical magazines. That's kind of cool.
They're cool. I used to buy them all the time.
I used to have subscription, man. It was great. I used to love their season preview magazine.
I remember when Yannick Hansen cracked the top 100 list.
I will say this.
Was he 100 exactly?
Yeah, he was like 100 exactly one year, and it was hilarious because, so many Canucks were on that list that year. They were so good, right? So, yeah, Yannick Hansen cracked the top 100. I wonder which analytics guru got the hockey news to put that in there.
Thomas Drance. But I will say this. I was going through this before we got on the pod tonight. How the hockey news might have done the best comps for a lot of these prospects when you look at the what they are, what they could be, and I was reading and it kind of makes sense for a lot of these prospects who they're comping to, and when we look at the play style. But yeah, boys, I'm down to talk some draft, and let's see.
Okay.
Yeah. So we have a fun little exercise. So what we're going to do is we're going to mock the top 10. Top 10. Each of us is going to make a pick, and we'll go from there. Is everyone ready? Who wants to start first of all?
Well, who wants the Canucks pick? That's the real question.
Ooh, now do you want me to go full negative on their ass, or do you want to take Tambier, a little bit of a fanboy? You want to get Nick right in the middle?
No, I'll go second. I don't want to be the Leafs. I refuse to be the Leafs. Someone can go.
I'll go first. I'll go first. You take the Canucks.
And this is a mock draft. This is who I think the Canucks are going to take, right?
Yeah,
not exactly. Who I would take.
No, this is the Canucks. Who they take.
All right. Who wants? Okay. So
I'll go first.
Yeah, Brian, go first.
The Leafs and Nick.
Wait, let me just get my list ready real quick. Please give me 1 sec.
So we got John Chaika coming with Matt Sundin and Keith Pelly up to the podium right now.
Okay, let's go.
First, you ready?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy, right?
Yeah, so first overall, the Toronto Maple Leafs are proud to select from University of Pennsylvania, what is it, Penn State, whatever, Gavin McKenna with the first overall pick.
I think it's pretty locked. You can pencil it in that McKenna's going first now, right? That seems to be
100%.
You could be the consensus. Okay,
he was in Toronto this past week. What's it called? The Toronto Brass flew out to Whitehorse to meet with them. So yeah,
it's happening. Okay, second San Jose Sharks, we're going to take Ivor Stenberg. I think with there's talk that they were going to take a defenseman. Now that they have two picks in the top 10, thanks to that Eklund trade, I mean, they can pick Stenberg here and then pick a defenseman later, right? So I think they're picking Stenberg now.
Yeah, a few weeks ago I probably would have said Caleb Malhotra, but I think the Vancouver Canucks are going to take Chase Reed at 3.
You really?
Yeah, I think
it's still Malhotra.
You think it's still Malhotra? I think it's going to be Chase Reed. So
after this, after we do the draft, there's something about Chase Reed that we have to have a conversation about, because I know Nick teased it earlier in the show about the American thing, but I can continue with the third.
Yeah, I just think Chase Reed, right shot defenseman, 6'3". Unfortunately, he's American, but he's a very talented player, obviously, and alongside Zeev Buem, either right shot defenseman or alongside DPD. If you want to put him beside DPD, that's pretty solid, right? And then you have Willander and him as your 2 right shot defensemen, and Zeev and DPD as your 2 left shot defensemen. I think the Canucks, if they did take Chase Reed, I'm putting a positive spin on it because I told you guys, whoever the Canucks take, I will be positive about. I don't care if I had bad takes on Chase Reed weeks before, right? I'm a Malhotra guy, and if it wasn't Malhotra, I would take Viggo Bjork. But I think the Canucks are going to take Chase Reed, looking at building the team from the back end out.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So
great. I got the fourth right.
Yeah.
So it was the Chicago Blackhawks. And even if it was Chicago or Buffalo, I think whoever was picking fourth is drafting a centerman. Now, Jarmo Kekalainen is a European GM. He is known for doing some dumb shit in the past with the Columbus Blue Jackets going off the board. At fourth overall, the Buffalo Sabres select from Sweden, Viggo Bjork.
You think he's going that high?
I think because Buffalo right now, the conversation, it's really, really hot on the press that they're looking for a centerman. I would lean towards Caleb, but just because Jarmo Kekalainen has done some crazy off the board shit in the past with the Columbus Blue Jacket picks, I'm saying that he's going to go the European route and draft from Sweden Viggo Bjork at fourth overall.
Okay, interesting.
I think they don't care about size either, because they just drafted Zach Benson, and they're not afraid of taking a small guy. So if they like Viggo Bjork, they'll take him, I think.
Yeah, so I'm fifth. That's the Rangers. I think I'm going to go fifth overall, Caleb Malhotra. I think that seems like a good fit for the Rangers. His dad was obviously a draft pick of the Rangers way back in the day. So a bit of symmetry. I think, they're top, from everything I read, they need like a top center in the prospect pool. So Rangers Malhotra if the Canucks don't pick him.
There's bragging rights in the family, because I think Manny went seventh overall. Yes, there were less teams back then, but Caleb going fifth to the Rangers makes perfect sense for them.
Who's picking sixth?
Calgary
Flames.
Calgary. Okay, so Calgary, that's a good one. Who are the Calgary Flames going to take? They have pretty solid defensemen already. Why am I blanking on his name? Zane, correct?
And Simon Nemec now.
Yeah, I think they want to take a forward, guys. I think a forward. Is Zane Parekh a right shot or a left shot?
Right shot.
They're a right shot, eh?
And so is Simon Nemec, right shot. So they could use a left.
They have 2 defensemen already, so they're not going to take a defenseman, I think. I might go off the board here, boys. And I think the Calgary Flames are going to select Ethan Belchatz at 6th overall.
Damn.
Yeah.
I don't know much about him. What's
He's like 6 foot, like 7 or
6'5". Okay. If you want, I can read the fucking the hockey news thing. But from the top of my head, 6'5" right here on the hockey news. I don't know when this was published. It was, but they have him 14th overall. So 6'5", 227 pound power forward who shoots left-handed. He can skate. He can shoot. A lot of people are saying, like, if you're looking at a comp, like, big-bodied, power forward like James Van Riemsdyk, Gabe Landeskog, Brady Tkachuk type of power forward, he can get you 30 goals, 30 assists, that type. When he starts going on a mean streak, that guy can be a pain in the ass, right? So Ethan Belchaz from Windsor Spitfires, but that's definitely a bold move. But earlier on, before the season of last year, Ethan Belchaz was always ranked as a top 5 prospect for this year's draft. So he definitely slipped, but his name has been connected in the top 5 ring going back last year. But hey, I thought Tambier was going to say Tynan Lawrence because, Calgary, because you use a centerman.
Hey, Carson Carroll hasn't gone yet either. So
yeah,
I just thought with what they've done on the back end with adding Nemec, they already have Zane Parekh. I think they go for position and they take a shot at the 6'5" winger that could turn out to be the next big power forward in the league. Right? Mm-hmm. He's not a bad player. He's supposed to go top 10. I got Elite Prospects has him at 9th overall. So it's not like he's far away from that projection.
All right. Is Brian, are you next or is it me?
It's Brian.
I think it's me. So
okay, yeah.
What are we looking at?
Seattle 7th overall, which would have gone to Dallas if they had their way for Jason Robertson earlier.
I agree.
And apparently that pick would have gone to Toronto.
For Matthew Nyes. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Matthew Nyes.
So 7th overall. So Seattle is like a tricky situation, right? They can use defensemen, they can use a centerman, right? They do have Matty Beniers, but after Matty Beniers, they don't really have a center prospect in their system. I know they got Chandler Stevenson. Shane Wright is the biggest X factor. So if they're planning on keeping Shane Wright, so that means Tynan Lawrence is not going there. 7th overall, I think if you're going with the best player available, highest ceiling, the Seattle Kraken select from the University of North Dakota, Keaton Verhoff.
Ooh.
Okay, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
And he's a guy who slid a bit. He was supposed to be like a top 2-3 pick, and now he's going sort of 7, 8, 9 range, right?
100%.
There's been a few defensemen that have passed him now.
I personally, if I was picking the Flames at Tambier's pick, I would have gone Carson Carroll because the balance the left-right out. But at 7th overall, I think if you're Seattle, like Carson Carroll is great. Keaton Verhoff is like just the highest ceiling defenseman. Like if he hits, that guy is a true stud horse defenseman, and I think Seattle takes Keaton Verhoff.
All right, so I'm next. That's Winnipeg.
Yes.
Right, Winnipeg. Tough. I mean, I'm stopping the slide here. Carson Carroll's.
Mm-hmm.
The slide will end for him at 8 to Winnipeg. I think if Vigo Bjork was available, I think I would have picked him here for Winnipeg. That just seems like a smaller European guy. That seems like kind of their MO. But I'm picking Winnipeg. Carson Carroll's in my mock draft.
That's a really good pick because Winnipeg, Manitoba. Now Carson Carroll's a very farm boy guy, Western Canadian, willing to do anything, and he already said he wants to play in Canada. He also said that he doesn't like the big city life, right? So Winnipeg definitely not the biggest city. So Nick, I actually think that's bang on, man. Carson Carroll's, if he's sliding, the Winnipeg Jets get a really good defenseman.
I threw a wrench in all this when I took Ethan Belchaz at 6 because seeing Carson Carroll's drop to 9 or 8 doesn't seem realistic, but that's just how I see the draft going.
Now and
there's always surprises. There's always surprises.
There's always
draft, right? There's always some sort of curveball.
Tampa's got the 9th overall pick. It might be the easiest selection.
You think it's the easiest selection?
It sounds it is. It's the easiest selection.
I think I'm picking one of the defensemen.
Yeah, it's going to be one of the defensemen. Right? It's going to be either Albert Smeets or Daxon Rudolph, and I think they go with Albert Smeets, who's more NHL ready. Wow. He's played the pro game, right? He's a big boy. I think they take him because he's more pro ready, and the San Jose Sharks are ready to win now.
What I've read on Smits, like there's people like really high on him.
Yeah. So I think
like he can play in the NHL like next year.
Well, who do you think I was going to take?
I thought you were taking Daxon Rudolph, right? Offensive minded.
I know, but Daxon Rudolph's great. I like him more than Smits, to be honest. But we're going off the mock, and I just think that they'll take Albert Smits.
Okay, so I got the 10th and final pick. It's the Nashville Predators, another team. It feels like I'm just getting these teams that are so confusing. like the Seattle Kraken and the Nashville Predators. The Preds, they need everything. We don't know if they're retooling, rebuilding, hybrid, whatever they're doing. They could use a centerman, but I'm going on defense because the Nashville Predators have been one of the best organizations in the last 25 years when it comes to developing defense. Shea Weber, Ryan Suter, Roman Josi, Matthias Ekholm. I'm missing one more. Dan Ham used to go down the list, right? So at 10th overall, they've had pretty good history with right shot defensemen and left shot. Daxon Rudolph 10th overall to the Nashville Predators. The slide, well, it's not even a slide, but Daxon Rudolph, right shot defenseman who can play offense, got to clean up the defensive side, goes to Nashville, and Nashville will develop another top-end defenseman 15 years from now, and his name is Daxon Rudolph.
New GM, obviously, in Nashville with Chris McFarland, so it'll be interesting to see sort of how he views their prospect system and pool and what he thinks they need, right?
Now, I will throw another wrench in this because, Chris McFarland, comes from the the Colorado organization. They like their defense too, but Colorado does like high-end, skill as well. Wyatt Cullen, don't be surprised if he gets a top 10 look and he goes number 10. Very offensive-minded. He's not like his dad, Matt Cullen, but I still think, Daxon Rudolph is too good to pass at 10th overall for the Nashville Predators.
I see elite prospects list. Wyatt Cullen's ranked 6th on their list. So there's a lot of the other people in the scouting world that believe that this guy is a stud. And top 10, because he was like in the 20 range, and I was thinking maybe the Canucks gave him with a second pick. But going in the top 10 according to elite prospects, that's insane. So, we're done the mock, right?
I'll ask you guys a question, and then we can move on to questions from listener questions. I said Canucks are going to pick Malhotra. Tambier said Chase Reed, right? Which I don't know, like taking American this high, like I don't know. I don't know if I would do it. But Brian, who do you think Canucks take?
For me, everybody knows, I've been on his bandwagon from almost a year, for some time now, for months now. Todd Harvey loves him. Keaton Verhoff, man, highest ceiling defenseman. Keaton Verhoff, man.
If I'm taking a defenseman, Nick, and if I had my choice of the best defenseman, and I've been hard on this guy throughout the year, but I think the guy with the highest ceiling is Keaton Verhoff. Because his offensive numbers they're insane, right? Yeah, there's things to work on, right? But his size, man, his size is it's a X factor, and a guy like him who produces at an insane rate offensively, struggles a bit defensively. I think at his size, you could teach him how to play defense, guys. It's not I don't think it's going to be that hard.
There's a reason. There's a reason why. Recently, they were saying if you go back and look at the tape on Alex Pietrangelo, right? Not the greatest skater, had some flaws. Big 6'4" right shot defenseman who put up points in the OHL. All captain material, character, leader, and that's exactly what Keaton Verhoff's. But I do agree with Tambier. I've said it, we don't agree on a lot of things, but we do agree. You can teach the things that could be taught. But the couple things you can't teach are character. 6'4", 200 pounds, bomb from the point, right? Mm-hmm. And his hockey IQ. And yes, he's got flaws, but you put him in the right situation, that guy is a true number one Norris Trophy stud defenseman.
I think sometimes players can get over scouted, and I think maybe Keaton Verhoff's one of those guys that's been over scouted, because I'm looking at elite prospects list, Brian. They have him all the way down to 12, which is insane. So,
Athletic has him going 7th to the Rangers.
Let me throw this at you guys. Let me throw this.
7th, because Rangers are
7th.
I thought the Kraken are picking 7th.
Hockey News has him
I said they have him going 7th.
Oh, I thought you said Rangers.
Yeah.
So Hockey News has him 4th overall. But let me ask you guys this question: if Keaton Verhoff didn't go to the NCAA and he stayed in the WHL, he's going where?
I think he's going top 3,
top 5. Yeah.
It sucks. It sucks because I've been hard on the guy too. The tape that I watched didn't impress me. But again, I feel like sometimes you get over scouted. Yeah, the WHL highlights look great, right? But the NCAA highlights at times you could tell that he was struggling with the puck in his own end, and some boneheaded plays he was making. But then you see the offensive tape, and you're just like, wow, well, this guy is.
And then. Yeah. And then you realize he's 17 years old playing against fucking 25-year-old.
And again, his character's through the roof. Good old Canadian boy, 6'5". That's something like, and alongside Zeev Buem on the top pair, inject that into my veins. But again, I think the Canucks are going to take Chase Reed.
I agree as well. I think it's Chase Reed or Chase Reed. It's there's no. I don't think there's a. I don't think there's plan B. I think there's a smoke screen on the Caleb Malhotra front. I think there was a quote today that RJ said that Caleb is going to be with Manny on draft night. Of course, they're going to be sitting together in the stands. They're going to be together, right? But I will say this on the Keaton Verov thing. I know Tambi mentioned on the Spaces, I think a month ago, a couple weeks ago, he might be the best offensive defenseman in the game too in the draft.
Yeah, he might be.
Listener questions?
Yeah, let's go.
Okay. So, everyone, follow us.
Sorry, before you go to listen to questions, I want to mention that the best question that gets submitted today is winning a Strictly Hockey Talk t-shirt. So,
hell yeah.
Yeah, so whoever has the best question will DM you, or maybe we'll even announce it on here. You're going to win a free t-shirt from Strictly Hockey Talk. And by the way, the reviews that I've gotten from the 3 people that got their shirts, Crispy's already creaming all over the shirt. And then you have Surrey Canucks telling me how great it is. And I don't know if Hamlin's gotten it yet, but I'm sure he's going to enjoy that shirt when he's gotten it too. So
yeah, really comfy. They're really comfy.
You haven't gotten yours yet, Nick. So
yeah, I still haven't gotten mine. What the hell, man? It's all good. I'll get it eventually.
Hey, man, Nick just, what's it called? What's the word I'm looking for? What's the word that you think about
He's
it?
Promoting. He's promoting.
Yeah, there you go. Okay. He's manifesting. He already knows it looks good.
There you go. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Okay, yeah. We'll get to some listener questions, and then we'll wrap up this episode. First question, Hamlin. Shout out Hamlin. If you had a front office, how would you build it? Assume it's 3 AGMs, a GM, and president. He gives the example of nerd, experienced guy, mix of both, analytics, GM, hockey guy, president. Well, I think especially in the Canadian market, like you need a president who's good with the media. You need someone who understands the market. So that's how I would go, like someone who knows the market, someone who can handle the media. I would lean analytics, GM. Honestly, the way Hamlin has it out is probably how I do it, right? You need like a nerd guy to like handle the cap. You just need mixes of variety and different perspectives, right? But I do think it's important for like a president. You got to be the figurehead, and it has to be someone comfortable with the media.
What I would do is I'd go hockey guy as the president of hockey operations, but then I would have the GM be an agent, a guy that's good at negotiating and stuff, right? So an agent as a GM, a GM. I would have as a capologist, someone that's good with the cap. And then I'll also have another AGM that is just heavy analytics, right? Just working the computer all day, doesn't go to sleep, is drinking 3-4 coffees a day and just crunching the numbers, right? And then, that's how I would build up my front office. Maybe I'll add a woman in there as well, just for, diversity.
Yeah, the DEI requirements. Yeah.
For me, I think it's pretty easy. I think I would either build it the way Jim Benning did and Jim Rutherford did. That's probably the best way to build. So
you don't want to do it.
Yeah. So, but in all seriousness, I kind of once again agree with Tambier. You do need a hockey guy. You do need one of those agents because look at the Montreal Canadiens, right? And the Canucks have had an agent before, and we had a pretty damn good success with Mike Gillis. And I do kind of also agree that you need one of those guys who will stay up in 3 a.m., 4 a.m. just crunching the numbers, like those nerd analytics guys. Because realistically, that's where the National Hockey League is going these days. Look at the Florida Panthers, look at the Tampa Bay Lightning, look at the New Jersey Devils with Sonny Mehta, right? And go down the list. Even the Anaheim Ducks got Pat Verbeek, who's more of an old school guy. But look who's under him. Martin Madden as a scout and AGM. So, and also the Boston Bruins. Evan Gold. come the lawyer, the background experience, things like that. So, whatever way you get the smart individuals in there, that's how you should build a front office team.
All right. Next question from NY Rangers News. Which team will take the first reach in the draft, i.e. a player no one has as high as they are getting picked? I mean, my gut tells me it's NY Rangers News answering the question. Might be the Rangers at 5. Because I've seen a lot of different people mocked up to the Rangers at 5 from the mock drafts I read. So that'd be my answer.
Yeah, I could see the Rangers taking like a wide Cullen at 5. But I think, like I said, we just did the mock draft. I think it's going to be the Calgary Flames. I think they're going to take an Easton Belchats at 6th overall, just because their defense seems like it's pretty set, and this draft is pretty top 10 defense heavy. So I think that the Calgary Flames are probably going to take the biggest surprise of the draft.
To be honest, I know we just did the experiment right here on the exercise, but I don't think there's going to be many surprises in the top 6. I do like Ethan Belchaz as a prospect, but I'm just looking at it. I think the surprise might be Diego Bjork 4th overall to the Buffalo Sabres, and that might not even be a surprise. And yeah, I honestly don't think a surprise is going to be, because it's pretty straightforward, like McKenna, Stenberg, and I don't see a surprise. Maybe a guy like Albert Schmitz goes like... Actually, no, I don't think there's a surprise. I don't think it's a surprise. The only surprise is maybe 4th overall at Buffalo taking Vigo Bjork, because I think Calgary's going to go defense.
Okay, next question from Justin Credible. Hashtag justice for Begsy. That's a hashtag I can get behind.
Yeah.
And shout out Trevor Beggs moving to Ottawa this week. You didn't hear?
No, I didn't end up going to the thing. I got busy with hockey, but he's going to Ottawa, eh?
Yeah, he's moving to Ottawa. So shout out Begsy. Hope he's driving across Canada right now. So hope he's enjoying the drive across the country with his family.
So is he covering the Sens then?
No, he's still going to cover the Canucks. He's still covering the Canucks, man.
From Ottawa?
Yeah, he's going to do it remotely from there. I think he's going to go when they come out east. He's going to go to those games.
Oh wow, that's cool. Good for Begsy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Shout out Begsy, man.
Yeah. So his question is not Trevor, Justin Credible. What is your hot take of the first round of the draft? I think there's going to be a bunch more trades, if anything, if this is any indication, right? Like, I think at least 3 to 4 of these picks are getting traded for, let's say, moving down or impact or roster players. I think if these trades are any indication, like, it's a combination of, I think, teams not being a fan of this draft overall and the weak free agent class coming up that are going to be, people are going to be compelled to move these picks for roster players. I don't know if that's a hot take. That's just what I think.
Yeah, I don't know. The hot take that I would say is probably going to be in this draft is, like, maybe one more top 10 pick gets moved, right? Like, maybe San Jose flips that 9 still, right? Like, that's maybe Seattle. Seattle looks like they want to move that 7th overall pick for someone, right? So I think another top 10 pick will probably get moved by the draft.
I think the hottest take might be the St. Louis Blues. They have 4 first-round picks. They will not be making all 4. They're going to be packaging that up either to move up or they're going to go for another win-now player.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they traded Kyrou, but now they're telling teams like they don't want to trade Parayko or Robert Thomas.
And the funny thing is that if I was going to the Puckpedia trade value thing, those 4 first-round picks that the St. Louis Blues have are equivalent or a little bit greater than the 2nd overall pick.
So you think would you? I don't know if I would do that if I was San Jose. I want.
So Stenberg. So I put those 4 picks in that calculator, the trade value. It gave like 96 points. The 2nd overall pick alone is worth 82. You take one of those picks out, those 3 first-round picks that they have, 11, 15, and 16, are equivalent to the 2nd overall pick. I'm not saying it's happening. But if there's a bold take, I think the St. Louis Blues are not making all 4 selections.
Okay. Statboy Steven asks, who will be the biggest shock pick in the top 10 tomorrow night? We didn't mock him up, but I can see a team reaching for a guy like Tynan Lawrence, right? Like a big center. Yeah. Like that seems like a guy. Those guys always go earlier than expected in the draft, right?
For sure. And I can see Keaton Verhoff falling out of the top 10. Like I can see that being a big shock in tomorrow's draft. Like again, shock pick. I think Belchat's right. Like I said, 6th overall. If he goes 6th overall, I'm gonna be tooting my horn all fucking week. Like I predicted it, but he's a big boy, man. Like teams get horny for these big boys on the wing, right? Power forwards. So I could see it 100%.
Now Nick brought up a great player, Tynan Lawrence, and I think maybe 6th overall for Calgary would also make sense. Tynan Lawrence is another one of those other prospects earlier on was always going in the top 5, top 4. We know that because it's been talked about. The moment he went to the university of wherever he went, his stock came crashing down because he couldn't keep up with the pace. But the second half of the NCAA season, he started ramping things up. But Tynan Lawrence going in the top 6 would not surprise me because he was always projected back then. Now he's taken a fall. And if Tambier is saying that Calgary's going to be making a bold pick in the top 10, I think Tynan Lawrence would be a great pick for him because, like Nick said, a 6'1" centerman who's got good creative playmaking ability. Teams always love these big centermen, right? So I think Tynan Lawrence is definitely a candidate to go in the top 6.
Okay. Last question from Josh at RealJK98. Who's the most likely to bust outside the top 10 consensus, and who will be the biggest steal of round 1? I feel like we should start with Brian since he's, the prospect guy here.
Out of the top 10?
Man.
Yeah, who's most likely to bust out of the top 10?
So out of the top 10 picks.
Yeah.
Is this not the best question, guys? Because nobody asks about who's going to be a bust. Right, that's pretty creative. Yeah, I think this might be the best question. I think we just found out who's going to win the shirt.
I don't know.
That's a
I'm
tough
not
one.
going to say it. I love that guy, right? And I think this is not my perspective.
You can't say that after he's going to be a bust.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there because I love that guy. Oh boy, who's gonna? Actually, you know what? Who cares? Let me take the negative P. I'm always known for that, right?
Whoever the Canucks take.
Whoever the Canucks take is gonna turn into a fucking bust.
Oh wow, that's tough.
So Caleb Malhotra's a bust. Okay.
Bam.
But in all seriousness, like,
pick a guy. That's a lazy answer. That's a very lazy answer.
In the top 10? Top 10?
Yeah, you got to pick a guy.
I'll say it. Caleb Malhotra.
You think Caleb Malhotra?
I think Caleb Malhotra. He's getting too hyped up. There's been players in the history.
He's the classic. Now, it could be, again, like Brian said, like we could be proved wrong, but he had like a really good second half of the season, right? And kind of just shot up everyone's board.
I was going to say Chase Reed.
Yeah, exactly. Like, why are you ripping us for saying whoever the Canucks? That's what the two guys are going to pick, probably.
But the seriousness is, those two are legit probably the highest candidates for, and now even with Keaton Verhoff, whatever, a lot of people. But if we're really talking about Chase Reed and Caleb Malhotra, there's been a lot of talk about Chase Reed. 18-year-old overager putting up points on the team was bad, really didn't do point per game and all that stuff. And then Caleb Malhotra, a late riser out of nowhere, stacked Brantford Bulldogs team, but he was putting up numbers, right? So there's been a good case study throughout the NHL in the last 20 years that these players who do a late risers, always pan out to be what they are normally. They're never those top 3, top 4 picks.
The right? Chase Reed thing that concerns me, guys, is I get it. He had a good year, but he got cut from the U.S. development program like not long before he went to the Sioux. And that's crazy because, getting cut from that and then taking the other option of going to the Saint Cyr Greyhounds, and that's an OHL now that's really watered down, and then you start performing there. Like, I don't know, it just scares me a little bit. Although his tape looks good, but I don't know, like, it scares me a little bit. Another guy that could probably be a bust, Verhoff, you know. I do think that Verhoff is either going to be a really good defenseman or like a bottom pair defenseman. He's going to be an NHL player, but he's either going to be a really good defenseman or a bottom pair defenseman. Like, I think there could be a chance that Chase Reed might not even be an NHL player, right? And that's what worries me, is because of getting cut from the U.S. development program. That's a little worrying for me. But who knows, man? Maybe he's figured it out and turned it around. And I think that's who the Canucks are going to take. So maybe what Brian said at the start, whoever the Canucks take might be the bust. But Caleb Malhotra, guys, I don't know about Caleb Malhotra. I think Caleb Malhotra is a really good player, guys. Like, I don't see how this guy's going to get stopped from being an NHL player. And I'm talking either second, first, or third line center. Probably most likely a second line center. But, like, if he's a third line center, I'd say that's a bust for where he's getting picked. But second line center is very, very reasonable.
I think if the Canucks had a stud centerman already in the system now, they can probably get it next year, right? Who knows? And I think Caleb at 3, 4, 5 would make sense, because I think Caleb Malhotra would be a really good 2C. I think he's got better offensive ability than 3C, right?
Yeah.
The 2C, and I know I was talking to the boys earlier. The Hockey News compares Caleb Malhotra to Anthony Cirelli, right? Cirelli, good two-way, get you 20 goals, get you 50 to 60 points, good, really good in the face-off, really good penalty kill, really good speed. Am I not just putting out? Am I just not saying that's Caleb Malhotra? Kind of looks like it, the tape wise, but he might have more offense than Cirelli.
Anthony Cirelli is an Olympian, man. He's literally on Team Canada before he got hurt. So that's a really good player. But yeah, like, again, it's hard to pick who's going to be a bust. But
and I do think the great point that Tambier made, and I think Nick probably chimed on as well. Guys like Caleb Malhotra and Keaton Verhoff will always have NHL careers.
Yeah, they will.
That's the thing.
High floor.
Yeah,
100%. Yeah.
Anything else we want to bring up before we wrap things up here, or?
I think the other part of the question, the biggest steal in the first round from Josh, and I'll just quickly answer that. I think the biggest steal is whoever Boston picks at number 23, one spot ahead of Vancouver, right? But I think
the biggest steal will be Wyatt Cullen. I think he's going to be a stud.
I will say Wyatt Cullen, and this is a reach, but whoever gets Xavier Villeneuve.
You know what? I'm gonna change my answer. I think the biggest steal on the draft will be the Ruck Twins. I think the Ruck Twins are really, really good hockey players. Really, really good hockey players. Maybe not Henrik and Daniel Sedin but I would take a shot at them, because I think their hockey IQ is through the roof. Like, I'm telling you guys right now, these guys are gonna be good players in the league. Maybe it's a bold take, maybe, I don't know, because Liam Ruck's ranked 23 and Marcus is Ruck like 50th. But if you have a shot to take these guys, I would, because I just love their hockey IQ. They're just such smart hockey players. And
the funny thing is,
I'm gonna say it. That's gonna be the steal of the draft. Whoever ends up getting the Twins is gonna be the steal of the draft.
Funny thing is, the Tankathon at 24 has mocked the Canucks taking Liam Ruck, right?
I really hope the Canucks take them. I would love both the Twins. I know, a little cheesy,
great cheesy. PR. It's PR. It's the PR Canucks again. It's the PR Vancouver Canucks. Right?
No, I really believe they're good players, though, Brian. Like, I think if they get stronger, because they're really small, right?
Yeah.
If they get stronger with their hockey mind, I think they could do some real special things.
I know they're going back to the WHL next year, but the 2 years from now, they're already committed to the NCAA. So it's going to be those two Twins are going to take
progression,
long process. But keep 3 names to keep an eye out for quickly: Xavier Villeneuve, Elton Hermanson from Modo, and Maddox Desjardins from Quebec. So those 3 guys, keep an eye out for the future. Yeah, man, we'll see what happens tomorrow, boys. I will
Congratulations
say
to
this,
Josh, by the way, for winning the shirts, because I think that was the best question.
that was a really good question, and of course, shout out to the class of 2026: Patrice Bergeron, Carey Price, Pekka Rinne, Brian Burke. One of my favorite GMs. Brian Burke's the reason why we have the fucking Twins to begin with, right? And then, of course, probably the greatest dad of all time, Keith Tkachuk, is going to the Hockey Hall of Fame. I'm pretty sure Keith Tkachuk was on a crazy bender for the last 48 hours when Brady got traded, and he was going to the Hall of Fame.
Keith Tkachuk was on Jammer Watch all weekend.
100%.
Thank you for everyone to submit your questions. For myself, Tambia, Brian, that's been another episode of Strictly Hockey Talk. We'll see you all next time.